All right, thank you so much. Welcome everybody. We have Drago Adam here from the Adam ad group, and we're just going to get started with our e-newsletter interview today. So Drago, why don't you introduce yourself and what you do?
Well, my name is Drago Adam. I'm the president of the Adam Ad Group. We're a marketing and consulting firm, and we've been operating since 1995.
Phenomenal. Absolutely. And what kind of work do you guys predominantly focus on helping businesses with?
Well, it's fair to say we do a little bit of everything. We work with companies, public companies, retail, automotive groups, business owners, entrepreneurs, kind of the full gamut. And we work with them to develop what is the best way for them to reach their market. And whether that is traditional media, social media, digital strategies, video content, etc. We develop a plan, pull all the pieces together, and implement and execute that plan for our clients.
Absolutely, it's a really full scale, kind of getting the whole shebang together for them.
That's right.
Absolutely. So, how did you guys kind of how did you get started with this company and move into it and develop it over? Because obviously, you guys have been in business for quite a while now. So, how has it kind of developed over the years?
I mean, my background was I played hockey. I had a brief professional hockey career, and I did not go to school to become a marketer. Just a set of circumstances. When I finished my playing career, I got into the financial arena. I was in mutual funds and term insurance, etc. One of my clients became one of my best friends. He was working for Goodyear Canada. And he said, Drago, he said, I really like the way you do business. I like your personality. I'd love for you to develop this marketing program that I'm thinking of for Goodyear Canada for their franchises.
Yeah.
And I think I was about 26, 27 years old at that time, the opportunity to work with a very good friend seemed something that intrigued me. And so I pursued it. And from that, it kind of led me into the marketing arena, which started my own company, like I said, back in 1995. So there was no real specific strategy once my hockey career was done that, hey, I'm going to become a marketer. It just kind of evolved that way.
Oh, 100%. And I'm sure you've really seen that the way media marketing and everything has changed over the years, hey? Going from a lot of, probably more print and physical all the way over to online media.
Radically. A little bit of we pat ourselves on the back is we've been kind of leading the way in digital. I remember doing our first Google ads for a client. Nobody knew anything about it. We actually read a book, Google for Dummies. And so we figured out how to run pay-per-click campaigns way before anybody was doing it. From that, we started to incorporate video into our online strategies. And then when we saw how competitive the landscape was getting on the auction process, and we used to get copious amounts of traffic for pennies, and then it started to get into the dollars, etc. So we thought, what's the next best way to generate return on investment for our clients? And that led us into the world of video content and Facebook. And we've been kind of leading the way there. If anybody has tried to do Facebook marketing or advertising, they can figure out some things to achieve success, but it's very frustrating if you have any technical issues or you have a question, you send off an email to Facebook and you may or may not get a reply. Because of our experience and how many dollars we've been spending over years and years, we've developed a strategic partnership with Google where we actually have a VIP person from Google that calls us and works with us every 2 weeks to bring us up to speed on all the latest artificial intelligence and machine learning programs. And we often get access to beta programs that aren't even out in the marketplace yet. Wow. So that's been kind of a nice advantage for us to have that our clients have benefited greatly from.
Phenomenal, absolutely. Having a little bit of a background in Facebook marketing myself, I can definitely relate to those struggles for sure, and how frustrating it can be. especially after years being advertising on and you still getting the same runaround. I absolutely relate to that for sure.
Especially when they make a change to the back end of a business ad manager without any notification. That could really cause some problems for folks.
Absolutely. Like, why does it look different today? It didn't look different yesterday. Absolutely. Absolutely. So clearly we're kind of running through, everyone here ran through the pandemic. What kind of business changes did you guys have to consider and make moving through COVID-19?
Well, one of our biggest philosophies with our clients is we become a partner. We like to think that we become a virtual extension of their marketing department, and we do a lot of business in the automotive vertical. And I remember, Jason, we just signed do you remember the Toronto Maple Leafs game when they played Carolina and the emergency goalie came in and beat them? Well, that fellow's name is David Ayers, and he's from Toronto. And one of our clients wanted to do an endorsement deal with him. So we signed him up with one of our car dealers. And we just committed to a very big television campaign, and COVID was just starting to scare people. Nobody really knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And we had a brief window to fly back to Toronto, film about 6 months worth of commercials and video content, etc., over 2 days, and then fly back. And everybody was like, man, you shouldn't be flying, you shouldn't be traveling. But there's such a big financial commitment on our clients' part that we felt that there was this brief window. It was kind of like now or never, we need to do this. So it was actually a great time to fly because there wasn't very many people. Everybody was very scared and uncertain about what was going on. So we managed to get in, take care of things in 2 days, and fly home. And we landed about 9 o'clock in the morning. And as soon as I landed, my phone was just blowing up with client after client after client after client wanting to change, wanting to cut, wanting to reduce, wanting to pull all their marketing expenses because nobody knew what was going on. So I almost didn't want to answer my phone. Like literally, in a matter of about 2 hours, I lost over 50% of our monthly billings.
Crazy.
But it was just kind of I don't want to say it was a knee-jerk reaction because there's just so much uncertainty. Like we do a lot of business with car dealers, and they didn't know what was going on. Like if nobody could come into the dealership, how are we going to sell cars? So there was just so much uncertainty. And really after about 30 to 45 days, once people started to get their head around like the government grants, it actually turned out to be very, very lucrative for our car dealer clients because they were able to get employee subsidies, etc. And what we really found during that time was you had to be a little bit flexible. What we did with a lot of our clients was we reduced our management fees by 50% to try to help them. We were all going through COVID together. So we just worked out a thing for why don't we reduce our management fees for 6 months. So that really generated a lot of goodwill with our clients because they still needed to do marketing.
Absolutely.
Just because people were kind of all trying to figure things out. Really what it did was that for our automotive clients, it actually helped their businesses more because it actually increased how many people were going online now and looking at cars. And if you're in so we helped with coming up with different ways to do paper transactions, to do the financing. We ended up coming up with digital processes. We ended up coming up with digital car reviews, all these kind of tools that helped our clients kind of navigate through that process. And then after about 6 months, once things started to kind of get back to somewhat of a less uncertain level, and everybody kind of knew the rules and regulations of what was going on, we were able to kind of basically increase our billings, kind of back to our normal levels. But what our clients really appreciated was just having a flexible partner that was able to help them through the kind of scary uncertainty 30, 60, 90 days of trying to figure out what was going on with COVID. So really the aspect of kind of learning what to do during COVID was just trying to be a little bit nimble and not be so stuck in terms of how your business looks and how your business
100%.
operates. You have to be a little bit flexible. I hate the word pivot. Everybody
Yeah.
talking about pivot, pivot, pivot. I mean, we had to incorporate and figure out how to utilize technology, like to do car reviews, to do videos, even though that we couldn't come physically to our clients' facilities. So we just kind of figured these things out and gave them tools to still be productive. And in some ways, a lot of that is actually kind of carried on just through this process now that we're kind of back into normal, or somewhat
Yeah,
normal.
100%. I totally resonate with that. And that actually leads me into my next question, which was, were there any changes that you guys made that have actually continued through just because you found it to either be better service or just an asset that the clients love to being able to move through? Obviously, you mentioned like the online reviews and other things. What else?
One of the we figured out a couple of like everybody get tired of doing Zoom meetings and Google Team meetings, all that. And when you're doing videos for public companies or for businesses that are going on their websites or for digital campaigns, you got to have a better look than the video. Hey, recording on Zoom is one thing, but when you are trying to market a service, and you got to have your look and feel as best as possible. So we found a couple of software tools that we could record video and do our interviews, etc., with our clients remotely. And the quality of the video, it's not as good as if we were there,
Yep.
but it's probably 1,000% better than anything that you see coming off of a Zoom or a Google or GoToMeetings or etc. So that's been something that we've kind of stayed. It's helped us in the aspect of moving forward, doing remote video production.
Totally. Oh no, that's awesome. Having those assets, that higher quality, that's often those little 1% that help separate you from your competition and help you over deliver to the clients as well. So
Absolutely.
that's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Now, this is kind of a loaded question, but what would you say is one of the biggest learnings that you've had since you've been a business owner?
For me, I think it's just more my personality, my makeup. Like, I mean, coming from a professional hockey background, you're part of a team.
Absolutely.
So, my role, I was a goaltender, so you have kind of an integral role on that team. And I kind of take our clients' businesses personal, like that we are an extension of them.
Mhm.
So even though we handle like 20, 25 different varying businesses, I feel like I'm part invested in each one of those companies. And I think that the level of care and concern that our clients receive from us, like, we don't, I do live, I don't want to sound like I work 24/7. I mean, I do, have some balance in my life, but my clients, like for an example, one of my clients phoned us up yesterday, and they forgot to notify us they're at a big trade show, and they said, hey, we know and understand this is like no notice, but this is a huge trade show for us, and it'd be awesome if we could actually have you come down there and grab some footage and some testimonials. We'd like to do it. They're a public company. They'd like to do a news release this week about their consumer experience at this trade show. So I said, you know what, sure, no problem. Like,
Yeah.
I was able to kind of figure out some things and readjust my day to go down and make that happen for them. And now we've got the content, and it's being edited and produced and ready for a news release that's going to go out in the next 24 hours. So that's the type of accessibility that I think we're all consumers. And I don't care if you're making a $5 purchase or $100,000 purchase. You want to be treated with some respect. You want to feel like your business is valued. You'd like somebody to smile at you when they're taking their money. One of my things that I just feel is just lacking so much in society is, when you go into a retail space, whether it's like a Starbucks or Subway or just something, nobody acknowledge, like, how many times will you actually get somebody to make face contact with you, make eye to eye contact with you, or smile? Like, I just, it's just a pet peeve of mine when I'm transacting and I pay for something that, the person doesn't even acknowledge it. It just, you really don't want to come back and, do business with that company. So we try to really kind of take that team philosophy and approach with our clients, that their business matters, their problems matter. And I take a look at every month that somebody's paying our management contracts is a reward for the relationship that we have. Because if people aren't happy, they just won't stop. They'll just stop doing business with you.
Totally.
So relationships is everything to me.
Absolutely. I think that really relates back to your point of how you guys kind of were flexible around the pandemic, right? And that goes back to that exact point you said. They're people, right? They just want to be treated with that respect and that appreciation when they're transacting with you. And sometimes it is just being flexible. Sometimes it is, helping those clients out with those last minute requests, even though that, wasn't what you kind of signed up for to begin with, right? Sometimes it is just, going above and beyond in those situations, just to let them know, hey, we understand your people. We're here to help you. That's what this relationship is all about. I love that. Great point there.
And I'd say my other kind of learning in the, running the business since 95 is, we're all human, we're all make mistakes, but take responsibility. Like, if you have made a mistake, with a client's business or project or something, own it, acknowledge it, own it. Don't try to cover it up. Don't pass the buck. Don't pass the blame. Just own it, figure out how to resolve it and move on from it, and then try to take steps so something like that doesn't happen. That's something that it bothers me, like, in the context of, there's a lot of moving pieces when you're running a marketing program, whether you're doing stuff with television and radio, and certain times just mistakes happen, but you see the integrity of who you're doing business with by how they handle a problem or a mistake, or like in the car business, when they say a heat score comes up. Mm-hmm. And that's if you are straightforward and you're honest and you just own it, I think people really appreciate that. And that's, I think one of the learnings that I'd say is a big lesson that I've learned over the last 20 odd years.
Absolutely. One of the points that we coach a lot of our business owners on is solve problems from a system point, not a people point, right? Because when you have those systems, that it removes that ability for those problems to happen again and again and again. Phenomenal. And last thing here, last two things here, Drago. Any quick offers or any best way for people to get in touch with you, say they're interested in your services, or just getting to know what your company does a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean, I get. We publish a newsletter. Like, I have a newsletter that goes out called the Monday Morning Motivator. And I started it, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. When our business was growing, it's physically impossible to see your clients, on a weekly basis at times, but I want them to receive something from us at least every week that it was useful. And so I started this newsletter, and I would just share with things that struck me during the course of the week, whether they are sales related, leadership related, management related, etc. And this database of ours has grown from 35 people to over 100,000. And I'm constantly at golf tournaments or different charity functions where, you pass cards and you meet people, and they're like, hey, you're that Monday Morning Motivator guy. I get your newsletter. We share it in our management meetings and all that kind of stuff. And it's become quite a labor of love. So if anybody wants to sign up for that, they can send us an email. Or the other thing that I often, we offer our subscribers in our newsletter is, if you ever have any marketing questions, or if you'd like an evaluation of your marketing plan or your social media footprint or your digital footprint, or you just have some questions, you don't think our kind of positioning statement with our company is, we actually help people make more sales and reduce marketing expense. So if you don't think you're getting the ROI that you are, we'd be happy to do a review, take a look at what you're doing, and offer some suggestions or ideas in terms of how you can maybe get a better return on your marketing efforts.
Awesome. I love that. That's phenomenal. That's a great name too. The Monday Morning Motivator. I love that.
I got to give credit to where credit was due. It was a newsletter. There's a fellow named Roy Williams, who's a brilliant marketing mind, and he's from Texas. Mm-hmm. And I saw him about 15 or 20 years ago. He was brought up by a radio group, and Roy, he's a phenomenal copywriter. He's written a couple books, The Wizard of Ads, and he has his newsletter was what I subscribed to many years ago, called the Monday Morning Memo.
Ah,
So I loved his idea, and then I just thought, you know what, I should do my own MMM. So it came the Monday Morning Motivator.
I love that. I love that. And last question here, just to close things off. Again, this is kind of a broad question, so you could pick one. I'm sure there are multiple things. What is most inspiring to you today, Drago?
Wow. What is most inspiring to me today? Well, I mean, if I take one of the things that's been very inspiring to me from a business standpoint. I mean, with my background in hockey, obviously I'm kind of sports related. We recently took on the Vancouver Giants as a client, and we were working with them for about 2 months. And one of the challenges that they've had with COVID was their attendance went down. And, you know, they used to average about 3,500 to 4,000 people. They got a beautiful rink in Langley. It's a wonderful facility to watch junior hockey. And once the pandemic hit, I mean, they were like everybody else, getting shut down and having to figure things out. And then once the mandates got lifted, they just assumed attendance would come back, and it didn't. And they lost about 50% of their fan base.
Wow. Yeah.
And so when we took a look at what they were doing, I won't share everything here, but they just lost some engagement with their fan base, how they were interacting, how they were connecting, and how they were taking a lot of things for granted. And we went in and created a behind the scenes type of campaign that gives the fans a look at what goes on in a junior hockey club, with players, with the business side of things, with the practices, etc., and just really engage their fan base again socially. And after about 8 weeks, the attendance went back up to over 4,000 people, and you could really see
Wow.
the momentum building, their engagement socially, etc. So it's been very inspiring to be part of something, something like that. I mean, I think junior hockey is a phenomenal product.
Absolutely.
In terms of the entertainment dollar, the price point is so affordable for families. And obviously, I've got a little bit of a passion for hockey.
100%.
It was just it was really really invigorating to be kind of part of that, and part of that success, and part of this kind of moving forward. And then just, I think, that's kind of on a personal thing with our business. But if I take a look at just how people have kind of the resiliency of people, COVID and the government's actions have kind of you really had to be pliable and adaptable to what this market was like, kind of moving forward. And I think just the resilience of the entrepreneurial spirit, and just watching people survive. I mean, I'm gutted to think about a lot of the families, or a lot of the family run businesses that were devastated, because of COVID and the shutdowns. Maybe in the food industry, and the gyms, etc. That, I mean, how can you physically have a business shut down for over a year and hope to survive? Like, those kind of things really kind of, they hurt the heart when you hear about those stories. But then to see others who have kind of risen up and found opportunities or ways to, I don't want to say capitalize, but to see an opportunity and to be able to form a business model and a business plan that's helped people and helped other companies throughout this process has been pretty inspiring as well.
I love that. No, that's phenomenal. Actually, doing a lot of these interviews, we've found that that's been one of the common things with a lot of the business owners we talk to, is them getting engaged with the growth and the the stories behind the clients that they help too, whether it be business to business or business to consumer. Is just being alongside the journey is really inspiring to everybody, which we love to hear, obviously, as coaches. Awesome. Love that. Thank you so much, Drago. This is Drago Adam of the Adam Ad Group, and his contact info will be below if you want to check him out or get involved with the Monday Morning Motivator. Thank you so much.